Today we have more than 80 wineries and more than 40 of them produce Pinot Noir from the AVA.
The Pinot Noir that we have managed to produce has come to be recognized as rivaling with those of Burgundy, and that is our goal.
Pinot Noir expresses itself very well in Santa Cruz Mountains, and I think that has a lot to do with the farming and the appellation that we just have at hand.
We really noticed that the most influential thing in this appellation is the terroir.
The coastal influence is key.
We have a nice influence from the bay, which actually allows the grapes to ripe at a slower pace.
We get a lot of hang time, and so the flavors are just absolutely crisp.
Keeping them good acidity, good structure, and ageability.
In some areas, maybe the Corralitos areas, that fruit comes across as elegant, rich, velvety, whereas some of the higher elevation produced Pinot Noir tends to be a little more focused, great minerality.
Pinot Paradise, I mean, you take a sip of this, it's like happiness in your mouth.
The wines are approachable, the fruit isn't overly aggressive, more of a Burgundian style of wine.
A lot stronger fruit, pretty deep colors.
There's so many different flavor profiles throughout the Santa Cruz Mountains.
It gives us everything from a very floral characteristic to nutty.
But also other flavors of spice and earth that are really kind of unique.
Forest floor, birch beer,
mushroom and slate.
Dried leaf and earth and spice and all those things that I think the variety is capable of.
Just good flavors, flavors that pair well with food. From a restaurant perspective, such an integral part of drinking wine is to pair them with good food and food that's thought out, and to see what the different flavors, how they're influenced by the wine that you're drinking.
Santa Cruz Mountain is an extremely different terroir compared to the rest of California.
It's a very complex appellation with lots of different elevations, lots of different soils.
So many wines from an appellation whose area is wide but whose acreage is very small. So you're getting wines that are made by people, not by corporations. They're very individualistic.
This appellation can have so many interesting microclimates and all be incredible, but all be very different from one another.
You may start to notice differences between wines produced in the north, the south, the east, the west, from the mountains, the foothills, the flats.
You've got the two climates, you've got the ocean side, and then you also have the summit area and even a little bit towards San Jose.
Our soils range from shallow, rocky, limestone soils on the north to the deep, rich, sandy loam, more prevalent in the south, the alluvial soil, and also influenced by numbers of fault lines running through the mountains that bring in all kinds of minerals.
The San Andreas Fault goes right through the middle of this area. So right there we've got two quite different areas within the same so-called sub-region.
Thomas Fogarty Winery. We're located at the northern end of the appellation, sort of above the towns of Woodside and Portola Valley, at about 2,000 feet right on the ridgeline. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary, and our vines are now entering into sort of the mature phase of their life. I think we're most interested in expressing the uniqueness that each site offers. So we're really looking to translate the flavors of the soil and the climate directly into the glass.
Our estate vineyards, which we have 84 acres, are in Bonnie Doon. Our first vineyard in the family was planted in 1949 by my great-grandfather. I make like 6 different Pinot Noirs. They're all expressive of the site that they're grown. I like cold climate, so I always want to have the coldest possible, slowest ripening location, and elevation is something that I find lends to minerality in wines. So I'm always wanting to find the most mountainous terroir.
Vine Hill is arguably one of the oldest continuously run vineyards in the AVA. George Jarvis planted the original Vine Hill in 1863. In the 1890s, that area of the Santa Cruz Mountains produced 90% of all the wine in Santa Cruz County. We focus on a number of vineyards throughout the Santa Cruz Mountains AVA, subregions including our own, which is Los Ranchos.
So what we trying to achieve is to have a little samples from all the appellation so we can bottle as a single vineyard as a unique site.
And hopefully in 2012 we'll have a complete portfolio of Santa Cruz Mountain Pinot Noir from the subregions.
house family winery. Our vineyards are about 14 years old, and we've replanted some of the historic Paul Masson vineyards recently in 2004. We have east-facing vineyards. They get the morning sun, they warm up, they just get this nice cooling during the evening and nighttime where, you know, that sap can really drop back into the soil and just kind of pulls that pumping action that, you know, really draws the terroir and the earth back up, and, you know, you get the minerality.
Sarah's Vineyard is outside of Gilroy at the base of Mount Madonna. It was established in 1978, 35th vintage this year. Being down in the valley, our fruit tends to get riper. It's more of a dark fruit character: blueberry, huckleberry, blackberry, alala berry.
The Bargetto Winery down in SoCal started in 1933 when Prohibition was repealed. We have a vineyard up in Corralitos where we grow 4 clones of Pinot Noir. We get some really intense flavors, certainly with our Pommard and our Mount Eden. We're not really necessarily a Burgundian style. It's certainly with our Mount Eden, it's much more intense.
Colachance Winery. We're located in San Martin, California, which is just on the east side of the Santa Cruz Mountains. We source our grapes from about 6 different vineyards in the Santa Cruz Mountains, ranging all the way from Woodside down to Corlitas. Really what we're looking for in Pinot Noir is the complexity, and really we get the complexity for our wine through the different vineyards. In Woodside, it's a little bit hotter of a climate, so we're getting bigger fruit, a lot bolder characteristics and flavors. The Corlitas, a little bit cooler, has the coastal fog influence, so we're getting a lot more of the mineral, the slate.
Burl School Vineyards and Winery. Most of our vineyards were planted just after the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989. We're at 1,600 feet, and yet we're only about 12 miles from the Pacific Ocean. So we're above the fog line, but we get fairly warm days, and then we can always count on cool nights. We're a schoolhouse here, built in 1890, so we've got PTA. Everyone wants to know what PTA stands for. Pinot, totally awesome.
Santa Cruz Mountain Vineyards, founded in 1975 with a focus on Pinot Noir in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And we like the Santa Cruz Mountains for Pinot because I believe Pinot should be dancing with food and cellar well. And to do that, it needs a good cool climate to keep the natural acidity and all the structure.
Hallcrest Vineyards. We've been in the Santa Cruz Mountains, my wife and I, for 25 years. We took over an old established winery that was established back in 1941. We really noticed that the most influential thing in this appellation is the terroir, the cool climate viticultural aspects of less ripened fruit, but more influence from each of the particular subregions and vineyards that the fruit's grown in.
We do make Pinot Noir here. We get some really very good grapes from the Corralitas area, especially Lester Family Vineyards. We also make custom wine for customers at the style that they prefer.
Hi, happy harvest. Here at Munn's Vineyard, we're at 2,600 feet. We are the highest elevation Pinot Noir vineyard in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And as we can see here today, we're having a fog phenomenon. Usually the fog is below our feet. The coast is right below us. We look out over Monterey Bay. And so we get the cooling influence, the cool breeze that comes off the marine fog layer.
This would say what I would say is a typical Pinot Noir cluster. It's just the right size, it's compact, nice berry size.
It all starts in the vineyard, and I certainly see it, feel it, taste it, live it.
There's a reason why we don't grow grapes by the book. Everything is determined by the weather and the soil and the people, the rain, everything that's happening throughout that year.
Even in the same vineyard, you can often have multiple different types of soil, different exposure to the sun and weather. All of this creates a lot of complexity, not only in the glass, but also for us as winemakers. In the end, it leads to superior wines.
The thing that unifies the fruit grown regardless of the terroir in our area is the depth of the fruit, very distinct right at the heart of that Pinot Noir.
One of my philosophies on making wine from this area is to extract the best every clone can offer. The Dijon clones on Pinot Noir are very different in characteristics, as how they ferment, how they ripe.
To bring those flavors out, you have to bring them out delicately, and that is not to be masked with too much alcohol, not to be masked with too much new oak. So what we try to do in the end is really bring out more of the elegant influences of the grape.
Flavor is everything. We try to minimally invasively crush it.
I'm trying to take a natural approach to it. I'm specializing in native yeast fermentation.
We use all open top fermentations with punch downs, so it's very non-abrasive.
And let the berry speak for itself.
I don't believe in high alcohol. I don't like to make wine out of raisins.
The style that I'm looking for is lighter bodied, higher acid, and really emphasizing minerality.
There's a lot of other big style varietals out there that people can go to, but if you really want an elegant, sophisticated wine, wider breadths of aroma, I recommend a Pinot Noir from the Santa Cruz Mountains.
And Pinot Paradise is one place where you can access more than 70 wines in one day, and that's a pretty special thing, all from Santa Cruz Mountains.